Greetings to one and all. It's your old buddy Jay here, coming at you with another episode of Countermeasures J Play. And I say an episode, it's really a review. But I just need to check that I'm recording, as always. Let's just see. Am I? Always? Yep. So, if you've been following any of my streams, for the last couple of months, I've been working my way through Elden Ring. I think the DLC specifically. I haven't done any more of the main game because I did indeed complete that 100%. All the side quests, all the missions, all that stuff. I did everything. I got 100% on the trophies. This is all on PlayStation, PS5. And yeah, I absolutely loved that game. So you cannot review the DLC without mentioning the base game. So the base game is incredible. The art direction, incredible. The sound, incredible. The music is, I would say, all of the things in this game are a 10. The music is like an 11. It's like insanely good, from being in kind of deep, dark, creepy woods to being on like massive sprawling vistas to being in like castles and mountain tops and horseback, and you know, the music cues change when something's approaching you. There's different kind of beasts in different areas are approaching you. Suddenly the whimsical music will cut through to some kind of spooky kind of thumping like war-like music, and just to kind of build the pace and to build up the atmosphere. And something that this game has in droves is atmosphere. It is amazing. Like, just, I mean, I'm blown away by Elden Ring. I was kind of, I got Demon Souls years ago on the PS4, or PS3 even, and I didn't really get on with it. I could never get past the first couple of hours. It wasn't the kind of game I was into at the time. I wasn't patient enough, so I just threw it away. I put it in a box, but in my mind, I just threw it away, and I was like, that's not for me. Then Dark Souls came out, and I tried to play that for the first couple of hours, didn't agree with me. So I did the same with that, Dark Souls, and then Dark Souls 2 came out, and I bought that because I thought, maybe I'll go back, and then I tried Dark Souls again, didn't work, and then Dark Souls 3 came out, I think I got that for my birthday, and then, so I just had all these games that I just wasn't playing, that were stacking up, and every time I tried to break into them, I just didn't get it, it just didn't work for me. And then the same with Bloodborne. I played about 30 hours of Bloodborne about a decade ago, and then I just dropped off, and I got tired of the loop, even though that game is incredible, and I still haven't been back to it. But I did go back to Demon Souls when they did the remake, and loved that. I played all the way through Sekiro and absolutely loved that. 100% of both of those games. I played through Elden Ring, which is in my top 5, if not at number 1 for the best game that I've ever played of all time. I put 180 hours into that game, and I absolutely loved every minute of it. I loved all the character building. I loved the systems with all the magic. I loved all the armaments and building up your armaments and collecting dragon stones and all that kind of stuff. I liked the fact that you could tailor the character to whoever you wanted it to be. So you could change your character, you know, physically how they looked. And if you wanted to be a mage, the game gives you a big enough playground that you could be like a hardcore wizard, or if you're like me, I just like sort of hack and slash, so I'm like a sword and shield guy. You can go down that route as well. So having played through all of Elden Ring and loved every minute of it, and was very sad when that finished. There was a big hole in my life when that finished, and I'm not really a new game plus kind of person. I probably will go back and do that again later in life, but some people just pick it up again, go straight into it. For me, I like to kind of experience something and just let it resonate for a while. And every now and again, I think how good elements of those stories were. You know, all the side quests where you've got like Ranni the Witch and all that kind of stuff. So having done that, I thought, brilliant, amazing. What an excellent kind of all-encompassing story. What really interesting lore. And an absolute masterpiece in all of the things they'd learned from like Sekiro, and all of the things that they'd learned from like Bloodborne and all those sorts of games, just in one giant culminated, truly open world game, which I was just blown away by. So for me, that was a 10 out of 10, absolute seal of approval, just a brilliant game. When they announced that the DLC was coming, I thought, okay, so I'm not really a DLC guy, or I haven't traditionally been. There's only a few games that I've ever really played the DLC to that I thought was worth it. A lot of the kind of DLC for a lot of modern games comes out tends to be a bit of a cash grab. I'm not really that interested in it. I kind of see why they would bring it out, but I could never really kind of connect with it in the right way, because it was just like, it just felt like they were like, oh, you like this game? Well, here's a little bit more of it. Here's a level we didn't give you, or here's a kind of another 10-hour experience. So, and finding 30 or 40 pounds to pay for that when there's so much other stuff out there to play, I'd be like, why would I play the DLC for this when I could go over here and play like Horizon Forbidden West or or whatever. So the options that you have instead of playing the DLC there's vast, and there's some really good games out there. So why would you, unless you are completely invested in that particular game. If you like Gears of War or something, I don't know, maybe that didn't have a DLC, I can't remember. But those kind of games, if you're really into those, and there's like a DLC pack for multiplayer or whatever, I don't know. If you're into it, then fine. But I never could find a game that I connected to in that way. Even like Mass Effect, there was some DLC for that, and even though I love Mass Effect, I never really felt the urge to go back into it. And even like Horizon Zero Dawn, which I loved, and again, I 100%ed that game. I couldn't wait for the DLC to come out, and then when it did come out, it just sat on my console for like 7 years. I just never ever played it. And then the second Forbidden West came out, and that sat there as well. So like, I guess you've got to be in a certain mood to play certain games, and better options came out for for my time, which is precious, of course. So when my roundabout, long-winded way of saying, when the DLC for Elden Ring came out, I was like, okay, this is going to go one or two ways. They're going to do like a sort of 10 or 20 hour, here's a little bit more, open up a couple of islands and do a little bit more story. What they actually ended up doing is creating what I consider to be probably the second best game that I've played of all time, because I mean, just look at this. This is a DLC map, which is just absolutely massive. There's so much to do. There's new NPC characters that you can interact with, and those side quests you can do or not do. Some of them I did. I didn't. There was no trophy list for this, which I completely find weird, because I do like collecting my trophies. But there was no trophy list for this, so whatever. I was just going through it, and but because there was no trophy list, I didn't feel the urge to kind of complete every single quest line. I think just by default and through exploration, I think I completed like 90% of the side quests, if not all of them. If I go back and check, maybe I did all of them. I don't think there was one quest line where the knight leader, who you fight towards the end, you're meant to set her on a path to go and find some of the other people who have turned against Michaela and the big boss at the end, Radahn. So I didn't do that part, but I'm pretty much sure that I did everything else. And as you can see through this, all the sites of grace, all the locations, there's like over on this right hand side, there's like a big fight that you do with the dragon. And I just found that this game has an excellent loop, which is you can just, if you've got half an hour, you can whimsically just kind of work your way through various areas, do some searching, collect some stuff, maybe find a bit of armor, maybe fight some plebs and the kind of little shit munchers that are running around, build up some runes, turn it off, go for tea. That's the kind of thing that you could do. Or you can sink 50 hours into just running around and doing it all in one go. Or you can do like 2 hours on a boss fight. You could, did I say boss fart? A boss fight or a boss fart. So the gameplay loop, it's a game where you turn it on and you're not just like, it's not just like a cover shooter, you're moving from here to here. Even with like other open world games, it's not like the sequences that you do in these various areas where you have to maybe take over a base or fight a dinosaur or whatever, or a monster or whatever. They're pretty kind of step and repeat. With this, every corner you turn is an interesting change. That I saw, even like 50 hours into it, I was seeing new enemy types, like really interesting things happening, where an area where you wouldn't think it would turn into like a huge, great big boss fight does, and an area where you think it might be a huge, great big boss fight is something else. So like, you know, everyone loves to subvert the expectations of people, but I think that this game actually does that incredibly well through gameplay, which is just brilliant. So yeah, I mean, just looking at the map, just absolutely excellent amount of things to do, and characters that are built into the world. They're not just tacked on. There's a story here that follows on from Elden Ring. It's essentially Elden Ring 2 or Elden Ring 2, 1.5. Story feeds into what's gone before. The characters who are all on their various missions and quests are referencing this part of the game, but they're also referencing characters that you've maybe defeated in the main part. I mean, it's just unbelievably well written. I know George R.R. Martin had something to do with this. I think he probably had something to do with the lore of it. He probably wrote like a book about it, basically saying this is a tree and all these people are here and this is this and whatever. And then everybody else kind of scuttles in and just sort of fills it out and fleshes it out. And it's those people, for me, that are the true heroes of these stories, because they've just built this whole universe around a simple concept of the Erdtree, and it's just so brilliant. And they did it in a really classy way with the DLC. Combat's really fun and engaging. You can build your armaments. You can your armor obviously have certain values. It's not just cosmetic. You fighting enemy types, fighting bosses, you have to do different approaches for different, like I'll be fighting one guy here, I'll turn the corner, there'll be another enemy type that I have to switch weapons or tactics, pop a spell, pop a physic flask to kind of boost my immunity for something. You can get poisoned, you can get kind of attacked by giant spiders, you can lift you up in their jaws. And I mean, the amount of enemy types, I mean, I'd love to see all of them just laid out next to each other just to see how many there are, because there must be hundreds. There's little bugs that fly around you, and if you interrupt or come near them, they'll buzz all the way around you, meaning that your lock on to use your bow and arrow or your crossbow won't work. And just all these little kind of mechanics that all work together, they all feed into each other. And it still blows my mind that you can be a hardcore wizard, or you can be a knight of the realm, or you could be an assassin, or, for me, I always go sword and shield. Like I said before, I'm always a knight of some sort. And I just feel that, like, the fact that game does all of this, and it caters for the variety of gameplay for everybody, however you want to play. Yes, it has all the usual Dark Souls things. You sit down at a bonfire, and then, all the graces, but they're essentially the bonfires from Dark Souls and Demon Souls. And when you stand back up, all the enemies have regenerated, etc. So that's all there. All those mechanics are there, but they're tried and tested for a reason, and they work really well for a reason, So yeah, absolutely loved it. As always, are just truly, truly brilliant. So I think maybe it's time to go to the Elden Throne. Do you think we can sit on the throne again? I guess everything's done now. Is my throne here? I remember where my throne was in the end. Thought it was here. Maybe not. Maybe I just hang out in the castle, but let's see. Ah, yeah, that's right. So if I go through here now, I'm not going to. I've done this already. Oh. No, you can't. Oh, okay. I'm not going to be able to. That's fine. So I guess we just hang out here where the throne is that I can't see. They should have like a permanent throne here. That would be quite good. But anyway, needless to say, that's my little sort of ranting review. I did absolutely love this game. I love the mechanics. I love the gameplay. I love the lore. I love the character building, the conversation, the voice acting. I love the animation. The whole style of it is just beautiful. Just really well done, really well thought out. And, the people that actually have put all this together should be really, really proud of themselves, because so much work to do. And you've got a lot of people who, they kind of like, they'll very easily poo-poo what you're doing. There's always someone who's like, oh, well, this shouldn't be that, or this shouldn't be that. And it's like, I think maybe sometimes you've just got to understand that there's a particular style of game that appeals to people. And this is the first time I feel that it might have crossed over, you know? It feels like it might be the first time that it's kind of crossed over into the mainstream, because so many people I know that aren't into like Dark Souls or Demon Souls or anything know about this game. You know, they're always like, they know what Elden Ring is. It's linked to George R.R. Martin. Maybe that's why they decided to kind of, yeah, let's do that. Why they decided to link him in, which is completely, you know, completely understandable. Just, I don't know how you top this. That's my thing. My thinking is like, how do you go from all of this to, don't create something new, just Elden Ring 2, Elden Ring 3, bring it on, just keep doing more of the same. I mean, can you imagine what the second one's going to be like? It's going to be 5 times the size. The stories and the quest lines, they're already working on it. You know they are. This thing has raked in the cash, and quite rightly so. So it's a 10 out of 10, of course, with the seal of approval, with the thumbs up, with the, if you get a chance to play it, you should. You could play the DLC as a standalone if you wanted to, but you have to have progressed to a certain level in the main game in order to do so. Which is why I guess you can kind of get to a certain point, go off and do the DLC, come back and then finish the game and you become the Elden Lord. I am already the Elden Lord, as you can see. I have a little bit of dragon blood in me, which is why I've been communing with the dragon, hence my yellow eyes. But that's it. So I think we're just going to leave my boy here. And until next time, be good, stay safe, and be kind to one another. Peace out, we gone! Ooh, ooh.